to the Miniatures Paintbrush. Today we're going to talk about prepping your models. We're going to take you all the way from clipping them from the sprue to getting ready to prime them. Alrighty, so what we have here is a sprue, just a general sprue that I got for a Corvette project, 1963 split with no coupe that I'm making, and these are extra pieces. I wanted to show you these special Sprue Pliers that I have. I got this one from Citadel. Really good one, and I bought this other one. I think it was at AC Moore, one of those craft stores. They seem to be about the same. The GW ones have a very good point to it, but you want to make sure that they're flat. You see how they're flat on one end? They don't kind of bevel in. They won't even cut my thumb. So why you need something flat? Well, you need something flat because when you clip it, you may have the option of clipping the actual piece flat, or you can, like that, or you can turn it opposite way and give you some leeway. Well, that gives you some space right there. I really like these clippers. I wouldn't clip it with anything else. When I was a kid, I used to take toenail clippers, and I used to go to town with toenail clippers on these sprues. But now that I'm older, I want to be a little more precise. Well, a lot more precise. Notice that I clipped it and left some on it. Some people like to clip it flush. But there are times where you clip a little too deep, because your hand is not 100% flat. But most cases, you can just clip that off. But if you want to be careful, you're going to want to turn that around. And kind of just use your blade, your hobby knife, to cut off and evenly and squarely cut off the remaining piece, like that. And that's pretty flat. I mean, there's little that you need to do that to make that perfect there. I felt a little bit there, so I'm going to take a little sanding stick that I have there, and I'll just make sure I get any kind of excess. And there's not much at all, so, I mean, there you go. Now, there are times where you have multiple pieces and you have to clip away and find some mold lines. And mold lines happen when a miniature or any kind of modeling piece, the plastic that is used to create it is melted down and poured into these molds. Now, once the plastic is injected inside the mold, you have to allow it to cool. Once they're cool, you split them apart almost in half. And they have release agents and everything in there, which we'll talk about in just a bit, and how to get rid of those release agents. But you split them in half, and, the first many models are, very little mold lines are going to occur. But as the mold itself gets warm because of the melted plastic, and then cool again, and then warm again, and then cool again, several thousands of times, warping occurs, and it's just a slight warping where some of the plastic seeps down through the creases of the mold. And when it dries and you release it, it looks fine, but upon really close inspection, you're going to see these mold lines. Now, why are removing mold lines important? Well, once you paint your miniature, they really stand out. Like, you can tell this is a plastic piece that you painted instead of some realistic model. Now, if you're just going for whatever, throwing it on your table and having some more games, then, I guess that's not a problem. But if you want something to really look authentic and nice, then you're going to have to get rid of them. And by get rid of them, you can use a hobby knife, regular ways. That's with the sharp blade towards it and for the heavy-duty stuff. And then you can use the reverse side of the knife, the actual reverse side of the knife, the flat part. And on an angle, kind of scrape it through like I've done. And then you're going to want to do some sanding. I use metal. I start with the metal, and then I tend to go with the lighter stuff. Now, there are sanding sponges that a lot of people use. I just haven't found a reasonably priced set of them that I can pick up, and I've been looking around for a really, really good set that is inexpensive. and I could buy multiple of, and different grits, of course. So I start out with metal, and I do have a sanding stick right there, and I got that. I guess it's a Tamiya sanding stick. I'm not sure about that. I got this one at let me see. It wasn't AC Moore. It wasn't Michael's. Another craft store. Ugh, I can't think of it right now. But I got this at a craft store. It's definitely gonna come to me. It's a Hobby Lobby. There you go. So I got that at the craft store, and they have this here, which I got at a modeling store at another place. And to my understanding, the grit is so fine, it goes all the way up to 2000, and it goes in different levels. Now, I cut out a couple pieces, and I keep it in this little bowl here. And after getting it, or molding down, or getting rid of the mold line with the knife, and then with the metal file, and then with the sanding stick, then I go through with this 2000 grit, just to get it and smooth it out, so you really don't see any mold lines whatsoever, no plastic piece whatsoever. It's completely flat, it's completely flush, and when you get it to this point, what you're going to do is, when you paint it, it's going to be seamless. It's going to look like there was never a mold line to begin with. Now let's get into the building process. I like Tamiya extra thin cement, and what this particular product does is it literally melts the plastic together. Now, you may want to think about where you're putting these droplets of extra thin cement, because you can potentially melt your model if you douse it way too much. So a little bit goes a long way. Here I put literally, I brushed on a quarter of a drop, and it brought together, and they bind very well and almost permanently, which I love. So that's great. I left the head off because I'm going to do a sub-assembly with that, and I'm going to talk all about sub-assemblies possibly in another one, but basically I paint them separately and then put them back on together because it's hard to read faces. So I want to keep them separate. Now here I have another piece here. So once you build your model, finally, right before you paint it, you're going to want to wash it. Because remember when I talked about that release agent that you have in the molds to literally pop the piece out of the mold so it doesn't stick to the mold itself? Well, they don't wash that off at the factory when they sell it to you on the sprue. So this is a good time to take any kind of degreasing dish soap, mild dish detergent, and you're going to wash it and get into all the crevices and creases. And what this does is you prep your mini, put them in to dry completely. I usually leave them overnight, and right before I put them on a pill bottle or any kind of sub-assembly, and then paint them. And this gets rid of all the release agents. Also, your thumbs have grease on it with your thumbprints. That's why you leave them. So you got to get rid of that too. So this way, when you lay on the paint, it goes on smoothly without a problem, and there's no errors whatsoever. I'm trying to eliminate any possibility for errors. So I take the piece and I put it in a little towel here, and I fold it over and I leave it overnight. And that's pretty much it, from sprue all the way to prepping and getting ready for your primer. Well, I hope this one helped. Turn off that water. Well, if you found this video helpful, then please hit that like button. And if you want to keep abreast of other videos coming down, I try to get one down every week. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification button if you just want to get alert when I post my videos. And finally, the best thing you can do for my channel is to share it with others. Leave a comment or a question down below, and see you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.